Yes?
The Great Cycle brought powerful magic to Amalur. The arcane veil begat King Isa's reign, and all things in balance, also its destruction. The seasons passed, the summer wilted into autumn, and Lord Ohm culled his strength. King Isa's sway receded as does the shade at noon. The Feylands rested from their sprouting, and a haze of indolence silenced the woods. When the winter moon waned, it began. A terrible thunder rolled across the darkened plains of Erethel.
What is it now? I've told you before, and I'll tell you again. We will leave when there is someplace else for us to go. Tell your friends in Emer that as long as the Tuatha burn our homes, we'll keep searching for a place to settle. They claim to be low on supplies, to be unable to spare even the smallest charity. But I know better. I have seen. Unlike us, they have everything they need, and more. Here we are safe from the Fae, all of them. We are simple people. We don't wish to be pawns in the games of immortals, summer or winter. As for Emer, the villagers have made it very clear that we're not welcome. There would be more understanding if they had endured our hardships. I was raised in Colm and spent my summers fishing the Tawili coast. And when the war came, I threw my lot in with General Tolera. May she forgive herself. I saw them with my own eyes, and I know Tuatha killed my fair share in the war. I am Elrod Edmund, leader of this pathetic band of ragmen. We come from the farms of the Tawili coast. Go there now, and you will find only ruin. The Tuatha raiding parties terrorized us where we were safest. At home. There are spies among us, my friend, and they must be rooted out. Will you help me? Kill them. What else? I would do it myself, but I must lead my people. They have no hope left to speak of. My strength is all they have. Fine. Then we shall be discreet. There are 3 whom I suspect of scouting for the Tuatha. They are paid in gold. There is no record of their actions. Onred Amphast is posing as a military recruiter, while Froma and Nag are both residents of our camps in the plain. Be careful. Consider all of them well connected. Be swift. Be merciless. Onred lurks in the shade of the Forsaken Plain mostly. Try Emer, or the West Phalanx. Froma and Nag are likely in one of the refugee camps to the east. Good luck.
Humiliating having the Tuatha force us from our land like that, but what are we to do? They're savages. It's the neighborhood burned to ash by the Tuatha in the early days of the war. It's been completely rebuilt, of course, but I know when to heed a message from the gods. Believe it or not, I'm not a native of these fair and forsaken plains. No, I was once a profitable exporter based in Rathir. Alas, my business went to the flame. Yes, that's right. I lost everything in the burn, but I found that opportunity always awaits those who search for it. See you.
Another day in the sun.
Nice village. Honest.
Please, it's rude to interrupt someone while they're deep in thought. It's a fine place, very welcoming to those who make the proper arrangements. Goodbye.
out of trouble.
Oh, hello. I don't recognize your face. Strangers are somewhat scarce in a village like this one. Good day. I am Anchor Edmure, scholar and novice sagecrafter. Of course, I may not be a novice much longer. Not after the Scholiar Arcana reads my latest discoveries. I have lived in Amer for many years, uneventfully so. But recent events have led me to believe that my time here is all part of a greater destiny. You see, my apprentice Donald and I have noticed strange weather patterns that occur only in the Forsaken Plain. I don't have answers yet, but we will. I follow the strains of magic to this spot, across fields and forests and over sea and stone. There's a great power resting beneath Amer. It's ancient, wild. Very few have noticed, but the temperature around the Forsaken Plain is dropping. It's so slight that you wouldn't even feel the chill unless you knew to expect it. I don't know the cause of this phenomenon, but I'm sure whatever it is will greatly interest the Scholiar Arcana. They are the supreme authorities on magic, and for years I have petitioned them for membership. Unfortunately, they have yet to recognize my scholarship. Until we meet again.
Welcome.
You resemble someone of authority. Two rogues, likely freemen, have stolen a precious item from me. Pay attention! And to think my taxes pay your salary. Disgusting, sweaty, pathetic things. Do not misunderstand me. I have sympathy for the wretched, but only if they're far from my doorstep. One must keep an eye on every possession since the freemen began to terrorize the plain. Some dare to enter the village even with the militia outside. This village was once a bustling crossroads for traders and dealers in the arcane. However, in recent years, it has become a barren outpost for the ignorant. It was an impressive gem sold to me on the road to Haxi. Quite the curio. It is called the Eye of Aman, a magical token shaped by the Fae Aman the Clever. I've yet to research it thoroughly, but it is certainly valuable. I am W. Mundus, owner of Oddities and Curios by W. Mundus. I have lived in their village for nearly 1 year. I detest it, and don't get me started on the Alpha. There were two of them, swarthy brutes, hairy, filthy. I shudder at the thought. The beasts ransacked my antiquities collection and stole several notable items. I am a gentleman, and if you can recover my amulet, I will make it worth your time and effort. I glimpsed them leaving through the back window as they made for the woods. Name your price. Well, perhaps that's not accurate, but you will win my favor. And they don't call me the richest man in Gorehot for my charming personality. Excellent. I will stay here, secure, and wait for your return. I've told you everything, fool. Goodbye.
Just give me a straight answer. Is the General still in the cradle of summer?
She is for as much good as it'll do her. But the cards don't lie. She'll never get that door open. Fate says it's so.
Yes. Well, then I suppose we'll just have to change fate, won't we?
I am on official business. Unless you've been sent by the Alpha army, we have no reason to speak. I was a soldier once, in the years before the Crystal War. I saw many die at Gallifore Fields. You could say I learned my lesson. Let's just say I'm glad I'm not one of them. War is harsh on many people in many ways. Those of us who can avoid the suffering should.
I'm here as a recruiter for the Alfar army. My superiors believe there's still fresh blood to be wrung from the Forsaken Plain. They're wrong, of course. Ask anyone and you'll get the same answer. They're animals. They care nothing for the mortal races. We're just dust to them. Enough! Keep your voice down. You're right. I'm a scoundrel and a coward. But you would have done the same thing. Give me a chance to make it right. You have my word, as a father. My informing days are over. Good riddance. You with that Docklefar woman? Well, between you and me, I think she might be a bit off her head. That's what the cards say, at any rate. Don't know much about it, really. I'm not from here, I'm just passing through. If you've got a knack for it, there's a living to be scratched out of fate weaving. Farmers like to know their yields in advance, at least. Nasty out there. But with Freeman plaguing the roads south, there's not much safer travel to be had. Cold comfort. Pleasant travels.
Isn't it a glorious day, as if Helios himself warms us with a smile? To what do I owe this courtesy? I only have a few moments to spare. The Godstorm awaits my return, and it doesn't like to wait. My advice to them would be to gain some perspective. Villages grow and burn. There is only one event that is worth our attention, and that is the Godstorm. Of course, I don't typically prefer the company of others. Take the leader of these refugees, for example. Master Elrod Edmund. Gruff, coarse, not a pleasantry in sight. It is a good place to find the peace I need to complete my work, although the refugees have certainly slowed progress. I am not one for the cacophony of any kind. I don't know how the Fae in the Cradle of Summer can stand having us so near. Our mortal din is far too distracting, even for me. I have never laid my gaze upon it. Such a thing would not be proper. I am a dustling, a child of death. The Cradle of Summer must not be sullied by my taint. I was born in the city of Rathir, an orphan of the Wending. One day, I stumbled upon the Scholia Arcana library, and I found new life in the ancient books. Why, the Godstorm is the greatest event that our fragile world has ever witnessed. It was a battle, a conflict between Fae. They call it the Withering War. That's why I relocated to Emer to complete my book, the definitive work on the subject. The village is nice enough, quiet, although the new arrivals give me no peace. Sadly, I lack the last few resources needed to tell the full story. The works of the famous scribes Ewald, Dalston, Callas, and Wildfrold. Gone. I was so close. It is not in the Fae's nature to fight. The summer and winter courts have existed in harmony since the beginning of time. Leave it to us mortals to ruin a good thing. 500 years ago, the Summer King Issa and the Winter Lord On broke from that pattern and fought a battle here, on this very plain. The land carries the scars. They are lost to the ages, I'm afraid. Minds such as Ewald and Callas are rare. I suspect that their works have been spread across the plains. Keep your eyes open.
Welcome to Emer. Hello, I'm Orca Tetran, village healer. You're new in Emer. I never forget a face. Are you with the refugees? They are sorry caravan. I, for one, believe their stories. Look what the Tuatha have done across the sea, and what they intend to do if they arrive here. Gods forbid. What would stop them from sending warriors to hunt us down by our very hearths? The Tuatha will not rest until they break us. That is why we must never let them. I'm sure you've heard about how Amer is the birthplace of modern herbalism, a cradle of enchanted flora, a haven for the wildest reagents. Me, I don't care about that. I like the people. We get all sorts of interesting folk in here, like Oddwald the Scribe, like you. Nope, I'm never bored, not in Amer. I've never met one so obsessed. He goes on and on about his life's work, as if other mortals will find his study of the Fae as fascinating as he does. You can usually find him holed up in his house across the way, but sometimes he spends time here with us in the tavern. Bye. Stay safe.
What do you need? Please, make yourself comfortable. We don't see too many travelers in Amer these days. Not with that forest of tents growing out front. Relax, and partake of what our small hamlet has to offer. Refugees from the coast of Twili. They claim their village was burned by Tuatha, but I know better. The Tuatha here in the realm of the Summer Court? I think not. They began arriving several weeks ago, marching from Galafor with their belongings dragged behind them. We've given them all we can, but we only have so much. This is the birthplace of alchemy in the Feylands. These plains have been soaked in the deepest magic. Every leaf, every stem, every root holds secrets. If you want to know more about our history, and about the fascinating flora and fauna of the Forsaken Plain, speak to Molly upstairs. She's a sweetie. No problem. We just fixed one up all nice and tidy. You're welcome to it. Well, you know where to go if you need a place to rest. We'll be here if you need us.
Bother me later if you can wait that long. I'm not selling right now. Too busy. Good riddance.
I have nothing to say to strangers. We in Amer wish to keep to ourselves. They are poor creatures. I pity them, as should you. There is very little of interest to know about me. I'm a simple scholar. I am here for the serenity, the quiet. Goodbye.
Hello there. It's about time. Someone new. I was beginning to think I'd turned to dust here at this counter alone, uninteresting and not having spoken to another soul in days. Han likes to keep me up here, because down there I fill his ears with talk. Like that's a bad thing. This village is a graveyard sometimes. Talk would do it some good. Molly Janik at your service. I teach alchemy. What can be taught, that is. Most of it is a gift. Either you have it, or you don't. It's big business around here. The magic of the Forsaken Plain has cooked up some mighty strange ingredients, that's for sure. You'll find some pretty weird stuff. My father was an alchemist. He trained me and my sister Lila to carry on his legacy. Lila hates people, spends most of her time in the Cradle of Summer, alone. Han is an idiot. He's the only one who's imposed this ban on refugees in the village. To what end? They don't want trouble. Only food, water, a warm bed. Idiot. Dull. I hate to say it, but the refugees are the most excitement we've seen here in weeks. You'd think there'd be more drama with a war on, but not in Amer. Here we are between the Cradle of Summer and Rothea, and I spend my days watching the clouds drift by. What do you want to know? If you're going to spend time with Lila, you might want to prepare yourself beforehand. She's, unique. Lila has spent far too long in the Cradle of Summer with the Fae and their magic. All of that exposure has, how do I put this, altered her perspective. She's strange, all right. There, I said it. Don't be stranger.
Thank you for coming all this way. I don't know if you heard that, but it sounds as if General Tellera is still here in exile. For all but losing the fortress of Melsenshire. Long ago, Tellera led our forces, but then the Tuatha produced a foe she could not best. Her forces barely survived the retreat out of Cluracan. Many blamed her for the loss, to have built up hopes so high, only to have them topple. That was Tellera's crime, and she has paid for it, day after day. You're as quick as ever. Tellera is in the cradle of summer, banished from the battlefields of Melsenshire until she can atone for her past. According to the Fate Weaver here, she seeks an artifact from Ural Tusk that might break the siege and aid our forces. But she cannot do so alone, for poor Tellera is fated never to succeed. That is where you can help. In a hidden valley, northwest of the plains of Erethel, the ruins of Ural Tusk lie undisturbed, as they have for many centuries. What Tellera wants there is beyond me, but I trust her, even if it goes against my better judgment. Last I heard, General Tellera was somewhere in northern Erethel, searching for a way to turn the tide of the war. I think she took a squad to Ural Tusk. You should be just what the general's looking for.
Hello.
Check with Han in the tavern if you need some.
Stand back! The jail is closed to everyone but the militia. You'd best stroll elsewhere. Refugees are everywhere around the village, and they'll snatch anything they can get their sticky fingers on. A shifty lot, those vagabonds. I'm not a noble, but I've taught enough of them to know that their condescension is justified. Some people are just born to steal, to scrounge. They can't help it. It's in their nature, like animals. You wouldn't believe who they've got back there. Real hardened criminals. I think. Most of them just look like refugees, but how can one really tell? I can't give you entrance. It goes against every code I've sworn to uphold. At least, I think it does. Honestly, I didn't even know this village existed. I couldn't point to it on a map. It could disappear tomorrow, and no one would even notice. I was a scholar before the war, a teacher in the fine art and history of tapestries and painting, skills that have little use during wartime. I became a soldier for the coin. It was that or starve. Back to the watch then. You don't belong here.
leave a man in peace. Does it look like I want to share a drink? Good riddance.
From the naked dirt sprang the Majestics, the firstborn of the wilds of Ashara. Around them, they heard the song of splendor of a once and future summer. And they responded. And the earth moved. The carver shaped, the architect built, and the shaper composed.
does not seem so strange. I'm sure there are many people who in their youth had a similar experience, but of course I am leaving something out. I mentioned the unrest in my soul. I know it intimately. When I was young, I was visited by something unlike anything else of this world. It was an ephemeral, ghostly thing. I called it a divine spirit, for I had no better word to describe it. This thing was not fey, but possessed a timelessness like one. It glowed with an aura of magic about it, but I was not afraid, for a serene peace was born on the countenance of this divine spirit.
Welcome. Hello there. Out enjoying a walk in the ruins? You'd better keep your blade nearby. Of course, the cradle, an incredible setting, so rich in its magical history. I was there months ago searching for artifacts, but only came across a few random wand components and a reagent or two. Nothing fantastic, but definitely worth the trip. An incredible region. One that begs to be studied. Where else can one truly get a sense of the withering war and its dramatic effects on our world? It is endlessly fascinating. We have nothing like it in all our long histories. The Fae are singular in their abhorrence of warfare. It's what makes them unique. I am a student of the world, my friend. The world. One cannot learn what he wishes to know from books and recipes. No, he must search the countryside for answers. Look around you. This ruin holds knowledge so deep that no one man will glean it. But that will not keep Erion Raff from trying. Ha! Goodbye then.
You may think I'm lying, but unfortunately I'm telling the truth as I saw it then anyway. This thing was a fleeting companion, but a companion nonetheless. Do you hear? It's the earthly moans of time. Listless motes of cavern dust, the crumbled ruin beneath our feet. All the ordained path of the blessed. You have found their way, their home, their solace. You're near them. No, I was wrong. Then returned the prophetess to her people, who, content with largesse, would stay in their wintry country. Tyrion spoke, as I know, her silken robes the fabric of Lyria's hand. Hail! The words of the goddess I herald unto her people, and have I heard from starlit lands in her woven grasp. Her way is east, that way which we must travel, for these frosty vales are not beautiful. Our cousins, we say unto you, be no more troubled by our plight. We will go to the opposite ends of Alfaria, and be Dokkalfar content.
Departing their home beyond the Vale, the firstborn were torn asunder, with a cry that still lingers in the heart of every god tree and mountain. Then emptiness, followed by a darkening sky, and the frost wept with the first winter.